Good morning, guys and gals, if there's any in the house, but I doubt it. I'm not that attractive. How's everybody doing? Ready for another Sunday Addicted to Gear show? I hope. I hope you guys are in shape and ready to go. I have lots of stuff to talk about as per usual, but it's not all about me. It's about you guys. If you guys haven't already participated in the show, I'm going to give you a little update. First of all, I hope you guys can hear me okay. Last week we did have some issues. If by any chance we get the same issues this week, then I'll hopefully try and re-log in and do the same thing I did last week. I did notice a couple of glitches on the software for some reason. Sometimes when they do updates, that's what happens. But I hope you guys can hear me okay. If you can, please give me a thumbs up and let me know. All right? All right. Good. Now that's out of the way. One other thing, you got to subscribe to be able to chat. So if you're new here and you're trying to chat and it's not letting you, it's because you have to subscribe. Please subscribe and you'll be able to chat in a couple of minutes. You know, right away, actually, probably. All right, good. So I wanted to address a couple of questions right off the bat. I think you guys were chit-chatting inside the waiting room there while the show was about to begin. So I'll answer a couple of questions. First of all, there's a poll question out today. I think you guys have probably seen that. So don't forget to answer the poll question. I'm going to get a little closer to the microphone here. It's a little bit, I'm a little bit far away. Can you hear me okay? I don't want to be too low there. So there's a poll question happening. That's the first thing. Second thing is that there was a couple of questions this morning and some people were wondering about the time. You know, 10:30 is the new 10 for me right now. I just wanted to get more beauty sleep. Look at me. I think I need it. Don't you agree? So that extra half hour in the morning on a Sunday is very helpful for me. And hopefully you guys appreciate it too. Maybe it gives you a little bit more time to grab that coffee in the morning, you know, get psyched up, grab a guitar, you know, exercise the fingers, whatever it takes. But I think that is going to be the time slot for now. I might change it back to 10. I don't know. Or even make it later. Maybe make it in the evening at one point. I'm not sure yet. I'm playing around with different time slots to see how it goes. So I just wanted to address that. I wanted to say good morning to all the guys that are already here, as per usual. Eddie Jr. is here. Ken is here as well. Ben. Jack. Hey, Jack. How's it going, buddy? Cushman. Presley. How's it going, dude? Hope you're doing well. Paul, Randy, top of the morning to you, buddy. It's me, Don P, Rico, Gene, Callie. Excuse me, I'm going through puberty again, it seems. Vox Guitars Rock, Profile Productions. So there was a couple of questions here, and I think Profile Productions had a question for me this morning. Hi, Tony. He says, good morning. Have you ever put an LR Bragg's Piezo on a Stratocaster? If so, do you have any insight on the wiring? Interesting project. I think you may have mentioned something like that last week, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right? I think you were working on that. I haven't actually attempted to do that, but I think I can help you. I'm not sure if this is the right info, but I'm going to put it in the chat for you, okay? It's a link. Hopefully it'll allow me to do this, but here you go. Oh, let's see. Maybe it won't let me. Let me see here. Darn it. I hope I can do it. Oh. It's actually a link to a PDF that may help you. Will it let me do it? Yes. No. Yes. All right. So I just put the link for you in the chat. If you click on that, you should be able to open a PDF document, and it's kind of an installation manual user guide, and it looks like it's for a Strat. All right, so maybe if you follow those instructions, you maybe could figure it out. Like I said, I haven't done it before, so I can't go beyond that, but hopefully that'll help you out, buddy. Let me know how it turns out for you, okay? Very cool project. I'm always very intrigued by projects like that. All right, so we have 35 people here already. I appreciate you guys tuning in so early. Please smash that like button if you can. Would appreciate that while everybody has the energy to do so before people get too tired. I'm playing my Telecaster here. This is my custom shop. I don't have a custom shop. This is a road-worn Telecaster. One of my favorite sounding Telecasters, and the reason why I was playing this one is I was actually doing the round robin yesterday with all of my Telecasters, trying to figure out what to do with the next one. So as you can see, actually, can you see that? So there's 3 of them there. There's this one, and there's another one in the rack back there that you can't really see, and there's another one somewhere else. And I was basically going through them and just trying to figure out what I like and how I'm going to approach the next build. If you guys don't already know and haven't been following my channel, and I think some of you are, I got a new body and a new project that I'm going to be working on soon. A new guitar project. In the fall, guys, I get itchy, antsy, and I start some projects just because, I don't know, I like to work on guitars, as you can already tell by all the stuff that's been going on over here. And it's the type of thing where I have the gold top refinish going on. I'm almost finished with that. I'm actually going to put in a wiring harness, and I did a video on that yesterday. I'm going to probably put it up maybe tomorrow if you guys are interested in checking that out. So that project's coming along quite nice. Thanks to the good people at, you know, Addicted to Gear Live here, and the communications that you guys share with me after the videos and after the, you know, during the week. I talk to a lot of you guys, and thanks to Seth, our good buddy Seth here, Seth's Presley, California Customs, reached out to me and let me know that one of these beautiful candy apple red guitar bodies was back in stock at Guitar Fetish. So of course I had to grab it. I've been waiting for a candy apple project, and now that I have the body, that project's going to start, and I'm just figuring out what I'm going to do. And I can't wait to get started because I've always wanted a candy apple red custom Telecaster. They're expensive. I wish I could just buy one, but they're more expensive than you think. And especially anything from the custom shop. I actually also ordered one of these guys, a little pickguard. It might look white on the screen, but it's not. It's actually parchment. It's a little bit off-white. And that's probably going to be the pickguard that I'm going to put on the body. And I'm basically going to start the project. So thank you, Presley, for the heads up. I appreciate that, buddy. Whoa, I almost knocked everything over here. It's kind of tricky to work with all this stuff here. Yeah, so I appreciate it. Cost me more than I wanted to spend, actually, a little bit more due to the shipping costs. I did a video on that, and I gave you all the information and details and measurements on those bodies. Guitar Fetish is pretty cool. They have some nice stuff. But the prices seem better than they actually are for anyone in Canada, because there's I paid like a $75 shipping charge on this thing, which was a little bit like, it was an ouch factor for me because the guitar was listed at $99 and I paid like $75 additional dollars just to get it shipped to me. Some of you have told me that that's not the case for other parts of the world, so maybe it's a shipping to Canada thing. I'm not sure. But I wasn't expecting that, but it's okay. Whatever. I'll save somewhere else. I'll just eat mac and cheese for a while and balance it out. So it's all cool, guys, and I can't wait to get started on that project. I'll keep you guys informed on how that goes. And Presley, I appreciate you too, man. I appreciate the heads up, and you guys are awesome, man. I really, you wouldn't believe what kind of communication I have with you guys during the week and what you guys are doing, and all the information you're sharing. Let me see. I had something I wanted to mention here. Is Steven here today? Our buddy Steven. Let Maybe he's not here yet. But I wanted to give a big thank you to Steven. I'm just checking to see if he's here. I might have missed him this morning. I don't think he's here yet. No. Is he? No, I don't see him. Anyways, if Steven comes in, Steven, our buddy Munch, he's been working super hard for me, working on a project, which is basically he's cutting out the logo, the Addictedtogear logo for me, and he's doing like a wooden inlay for me. And out of the goodness of his heart, and I really do appreciate that. And he's been sending me updates on that throughout the week and showing me the process. I didn't realize how complicated and time-consuming the whole thing is. He's actually hit a little snag where he burnt through one of the veneers, and he has to start over. And he's telling me he put in like 14 hours of work to do this for me. And I'm freaking out here, guys, because, you know, I didn't expect it to be that complicated, and I really do appreciate it. And I feel so bad that, you know, he burnt through the veneer and he feels like he's got to start over. But I just want to say, if you're watching this later on, Steven, don't sweat it, dude. I don't expect you to put that kind of time and energy into a logo for me. I figured it would be an easy project or something like that, but it seems like it's really time consuming. So no worries at all. You've done more than you should have at this point, I feel. It's really up to you if you want to continue the project, but if you don't, I totally understand. And I didn't really expect that. So you're a definite, you know, you're a diamond, man. You're really going beyond what is necessary, and I really do appreciate that and appreciate the time you put in up to now. So it's all good, buddy. Now that's out of the way. I wanted to say, I wanted to ask you guys what you've been up to this week. As per usual, I think some of you guys have done some bad things. I think somebody mentioned there was a new guitar day for them while I was watching the chat going through, and I just wanted to find that message and give you my comments on that. There's little glitches happening, guys. I don't know, the video seems to glitch every now and then, so if, like I said, if it goes haywire and it drops on me, I apologize, but I'm dealing with gremlins again, I think. All right, so Jeff, buddy, congratulations, dude. Jeff says he's driving, so he'll be listening in. New guitar this week. I've only gone and bought a Shure Sir Pete Thorne. Aye, Jeff, dude, that's awesome, man. Beautiful guitar. Sir makes excellent guitars. These are like guitars you keep for your entire life. And everybody raves about the Pete Thorne model, so I'm super happy that you got that, and I'd really like to see photos of that guitar. Let us know how you like it. I think you're going to love the neck. The Sir guitar that I have is one of my favorite necks of all time. Great guitar. And I kind of put the Pete Thorne spin on it because it originally came with a humbucker and 2 single coils, and I switched it over to 2 humbuckers, which I think works really nicely with that guitar. So yeah, welcome to the Sir Club, man. I think you're going to be very, very happy. Let us know. Let us know how you like it. All right, let me just scroll a little bit here. Presley has a question here. I ordered parts for a purple sparkle flake hardtail Strat with a flamed maple neck and board. So you ordered them from, also from Guitar Fetish? Is that where you got it from? I was eyeing that purple sparkle flake body as well. But since I already have a purple Telecaster, I didn't grab it. But yeah, it looks really nice, man. The flakes on those, I think, are quite a bit bigger than what you see on the Candy Apple Red one, though. Excuse me. Shane sold his LTD Viper this week. He's buying a computer for his daughter. Isn't that a good man? Excuse me. Went down the wrong pipe. That's a good man right there. You know, not only is he raising money to buy a computer for his daughter, but he's doing it by selling his guitars, man. You know, that's dedication and love. And I'm sure your daughter will thank you and be very appreciative of the new computer. And you can always get another guitar, right? Awesome, man. Very cool. There was a Christian is here as well. He's talking, but he's talking in what seems to be German. So I don't know if that's something. I can't read German, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to put it through a translator. But it's nice to see you, Christian. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Shane says the work is free relicking on the logo, so Fender has a $300 upcharge for burnt veneer. Good point. You're right. You're right. Quicksilver says he bought the TC Electronic Combo Deluxe 65. Not sure I like it. Henning. Ooh, I can't. I'm stuttering here. Henning was right. It has no headroom for a Fender preamp. Well, that's the whole, claim to fame with Fender amps. So that's no good. Do they have a return window or something? Or are you just going to hang on to it and maybe flip it later on? But that's good to know. Thank you for letting us know about that, because yeah, no headroom with a Fender circuit is not exactly what you want. Eddie says, I sold my daughter's computer so I can get a guitar. That's the flip side, right? Eddie, come on, dude. I know you guys are kidding. So Dan of New Jersey says, I sold a bunch of stuff, including my HRD, no tears there, to get a Marshall SV20H, and he's loving it. Ooh la la, a Marshall. Yeah, the SV20 is great. Dan, welcome to the club. I think you're going to like it. A lot of people are considering either the SV20 now or the latest one that just came out, which is the what is it, the JTM, which is also very intriguing, and a lot of people like that one. So why did you choose the SV20 over the other ones? Just wondering, Dan, if you had a preference there, if it was just available and you snagged it up. I knew this question was going to pop up. Gene, you're killing me. All right. Well, which is my favorite Telecaster? Yesterday, I realized that picking a favorite is extremely difficult for me, because I like them all for different reasons. And I could point out all the reasons, but that's a whole video in itself. And maybe I'll do just that. Eventually, I'll just pick out a winner in terms of... well, not a winner, but show you why they're all different and why they're all so great. This one is definitely up there in terms of one of my favorites. I think the neck on this is really comfortable. Of course, I love the red. It's relict, but it's not like extremely relict. It looks like, reasonably relict here. But one of the shining points of this guitar is the pickups. There's a set of custom shop Texas, what are they? Texas Specials or Tex-Mex, I believe. And they sound really great. They're really punchy. No issues cutting through the mix with this guitar. It works so well. And I think, everything works really well with this one. But of course, there's the other ones there too. And each one of those has very strong points as well. And I guess I'll make a video on that eventually. It'll be easier. It'll be quicker. Dan says, I wanted to I wanted to plexi sound and I knew that it would be there with the SV20H. Yeah, what speaker cabinet are you playing it through, Dan? It reacts quite a bit differently depending on the speakers that you're using it with. And I'm just curious what you're pumping it through right now. All right, so Quicksilver does have a 30-day window, but I can't get past gain 4 and level 7 or 8 before it sounds like a rip speaker with a harsh crackle. Oh, man. And what are you playing it through? Do you think that has anything to do with it? Do you think it plays well with certain speaker cabinets more than others? Interesting. Okay. If I missed any questions along the way, guys, please let me know. Just put it in the chat so I don't have to scroll back and try and find it. Dan says, I've been playing my new Fender Vibro Champ more than anything else recently. Much more capable of creating different tones than I expected. Had to swap the stock Celestians with a Jensen Alnico though. Yeah, those Alnico Jensens really sound great with the Vibro Champs and the Princetons and those type of amps. So I think you made a good choice there. I'm not sure why all of a sudden there's a lot more Celestians going into those amps for some reason. So Dan's using an orange 1x12 vintage 3065 watts or a Vox 2x12 greenbacks, both at 16 ohms. Okay. Well, those are both great sounding speakers. So I guess it wouldn't be the speakers. And Quicksilver says just its own built-in Celestion IRs and headphones. Okay. Are you Quicksilver, does it have the option of using cabinet emulation? Maybe it's turned off. Or maybe it doesn't have it. I'm not really sure. I don't have all the ins and outs on that particular product there. All right. Well, 40 people in the house today. Today is actually show 174. We're getting closer to 100 there. It's going pretty quickly. I can't believe the week just flew by. And I think it's Indian summer here now because we're expecting a beautiful warm day tomorrow. I think it's going to go up to like 35, which is definitely a pool day for me. I'm in my shorts because it's too hot, And I'm usually pretty surprised to be saying that in September. And we're already in September. Shane says, my daughter will go to college in a year and a bit. Wife is telling me to save money. Yeah, man. I don't know if college is as expensive as other parts of the world where you are, Shane, but it's a good idea to put some money aside. Till she can pay you back at least. All right. On a side note here, so there's the poll question I want to remind you guys about. Definitely vote, so we'll take a look at that. The poll question for today was, which guitar playing technique do you find most intriguing? Now, I didn't ask which guitar technique you've mastered. It could be a technique that you haven't mastered but you'd like to master, that you find very interesting. And the options were A, tapping, so the EVH thing, sweep picking, more along the Ingui thing, slide guitar. Slide guitar is always really great, along the Billy Gibbons thing, I guess. Finger style, if you're going to be playing without a pick and doing this, a la Mark Knopfler or something like that. Or is that more hybrid picking? Well, either one. But put in your votes. We're going to take a look at that before the show ends today, and we're going to see what the results are. And see where you guys are at. I'm always curious about that. Quicksilver says, yes, it does. I did try it with a More Cab X12, York IRs as well, into my audio interface and headphone out from set interface. Still hard to tame the harshness. You know what? A lot of times when these products become very harsh like that, you check your signal chain, man. Try to simplify your signal chain as much as you can and see whether or not that is the cause of the issue. Sometimes it is. You'd be surprised. But I would start there, man, before you actually return it. Maybe just try a few different things. Hey, Cool Tunes is here. Nice to see you, buddy. Late to the pro. Cool Tunes always likes to make a grand entrance, I find. It's all good, dude. Thank you for coming in. All right. I did have a couple of notes I wanted to discuss today. Namely, what's been happening with our good friends over at Anderton's. Have you guys heard about sort of this little fiasco? Mini fiasco? I don't know if we could even call it a fiasco. Does it qualify as a fiasco? I'm not really sure. But if you guys have been following what's been going on, basically, the guys over at Anderton's got a little bit of flack over the week, I think. And what ended up happening is that another YouTuber figured out or found out or, you know, got a hold of some information that indicated that the guys over at Anderton's, specifically Lee, the owner of the company, was involved with Victory amps. And that there was kind of a little scandal happening because, of course, Anderton's does review products, a lot of amplifiers, and often, or in the past, they've done shootouts between the Victory amps and other amps. And what's come out is that, you know, since Lee was associated with Victory amps somehow, that maybe the information was not truthful, you know, in terms of, you know, what they preferred, what they're pushing in terms of products. And perhaps he should have mentioned it. And he didn't till now. And, you know, he was very proactive when the information came out and did a video explaining the whole thing, coming clean, which I guess is appropriate. Obviously, he thought it was important to address because he did make a video talking about all that stuff. I think it's a little bit late when you're caught with your hand in the cookie jar. But you guys have to remember one thing. Anderton's is a store and they do promote products. And obviously they're going to want to promote the products that are most advantageous to them. You know, of course, they review a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, they're not going to be reviewing things they don't sell. So you got to keep that in mind, right? And if they're trying to do a shootout where, you know, there happens to be a Victory amp, there could be a Marshall, an Orange, a Black Star, or whatever other amplifiers you have there, a Marshall, you know, they may be inclined to push the Victory amplifier, which is not honest, right? So it's unfortunate because, you know, I like the guys over there. I think they're doing a great job with the reviews, and I just wish they would keep them honest. And it would be best to mention the fact that you're part of an organization that is either, you know, selling or promoting different types of products. And there are other products that Lee is involved with as well, in different entities, different types of products. He did mention that somewhere. So keep that in mind, guys. You know, and at the end of the day, make up your own mind. Don't just buy something based on someone else's opinion. Coming from a YouTuber that does reviews, it's kind of, you know, I shouldn't be saying that because, you know, but I try and be as honest as I can in my videos as well. And I try and let you decide at the end of the day. The idea behind my channel is really just to not so much give you an opinion. I mean, I sometimes do give an opinion, but I try and keep it clear that it's my own opinion and you guys should try it out for yourself and make up your own mind. But I'm just trying to put the information out there so you have the information to make an educated decision. But they have a lot of clout You know, Andertons is very popular. They're like the Oprah of music stores or gear reviews on YouTube. And of course, you know, if they promote something and they say it's good, there's a lot of people going to be buying that stuff. But it's funny because I was watching another video where Pete, Danish Pete, was actually trying different Telecasters, and they gave him, while he was blindfolded, his purple Telecaster, which he uses all the time, and he he couldn't identify it. He thought it was a different guitar. So everybody's human. We all make mistakes. Again, you got to make up your own mind. So ask a lot of questions. So I don't know if that changes your opinion of them or, you know, leaves a bad taste in your mouth, but it is what it is. So Shane says Andertons doesn't really review but demonstrates. Yeah, they do demonstrate, but they often will get excited about a certain product. And sometimes that's enough to sway people's opinions, right? Rico says Lee's reply was great. He did the right thing. He addressed it right away. You know, he did the Bob Barker thing when he got caught fooling around with one of Barker's beauties. He came clean right away. And I think that's the best he could have done. Admit to it, you know, give your point of view, and then people will forget. You know, by the end of next week, nobody's going to remember about this anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Paul says he ordered a Iron band controller EQ, 10 band graphic in a Hammond B box for $25. Wow. Asian companies farm out their graphics to hi-fi makers. Consumer hi-fi guys are anal, so it could be good. Well, Paul, let me know, man. I don't know where you find these deals, dude, but $25, man, the enclosure itself is probably worth $10. So I'd be very curious to see what you get for $25 there. Very cool. Thanks for sharing that, man. I can always count on him to pop out with some really cool pedal information and stuff like that, and I do appreciate that. I agree with Surfer By. He should have mentioned it, but it's not a big deal. At the end of the day, there's so much information out there. I think everybody's involved with certain, you know, companies to a certain degree, especially the big boys. So Quicksilver says that it's interesting, and what did he leave out? I had my own suspicions about Victory amps, but I personally didn't care enough to, well, anything at all. Yeah, he's a businessman. That's right, man. He's there to make money. Hey, thanks for the super chat, Scar My Guitar. Nice to see you, buddy. I appreciate that. Thank you for the support. I hope you enjoy the channel. Nice to see you here, man. And Dan says Anderson's got slammed with not disclosing their financial interest in Victory amps. Yeah, he claims it's a group buying organization so that they can get better prices and all kinds of stuff like that. But I don't know. I think it might go beyond that. Once again, guys, just a little reminder: hit the like button if you can. That always helps us get a little bit more views and attract more people to the channel and the live chats, which is always good. Shane says when KHD trashed Chapman for changing their American distributors, he failed to mention that the former distributor owed Chapman $200,000. That's a good reason to switch distributors. I have a feeling that Andertons might also be involved with Chapman, or maybe they were. I don't know, but it seems like they're talking about the Chapman guitars quite a bit, or at least they were at the beginning. Now a little bit less so. Quicksilver says, I personally don't hate the people targeted in this video, but more and more I hate their fans that come out with pitchforks and torches because they hurt their chosen YouTube celebrities. Well, yeah, I understand that too, man. I mean, it's interesting to see the dynamics out there in terms of YouTube celebrities and, you know, who's backing them and who isn't. I kind of like victory amps myself. I mean, I was at one point considering the Sheriff, but it was a little bit too expensive and hard to get, and you know, shipping and all of that, and you don't usually find them here in Canada that easily. So I let that I let it rest. I just glitched again there. Man, I hope we don't lose the feed again. I hate when that happens. Paul says, I review about 50 pedals a month and my readers expect one every day, just released, or odds and interesting like the Irwin is expected. So yeah, I understand that, and I do enjoy reading your stuff as well. So if you guys don't already know, Paul has a blog where he puts out a lot of information on pedals. So if you guys are interested, you should check that out. Good resource. I think Andertons did give Chapman some help, even if it was just, you know, free promotion. Obviously, when you have a very popular channel like that, free promotion goes a long way. Yeah, Andertons has been around a long time. I remember watching Andertons videos like 10 years ago, if not more. So yeah. They've paid their dues. Yeah, I'll let it rest. You're right. It doesn't really affect me directly, so I just thought it'd be interesting to mention because I know you guys do follow Anderton, so in case you didn't already hear about that, you will. Shane says, Tony, did you see the what is it called? Scaramy guitar video where he found single coil pickups in a humbucker casing. Have you ever seen that? No, I didn't. You mean like they were trying to pass off single coils in a humbucker? Really? All right. Very interesting. I did not see that. No, I should definitely check that out. Yeah, I know about that, Quicksilver. That he is kind of involved with Chapman's. I don't know if he's still involved, but I had a feeling that he was. Never hid that and figured he came out with East Coast guitars to compete with the Tomans Harley Benton line. Could be. You know, when you have enough clout and you have enough power to buy in with a group, you can definitely get guitars made overseas for a decent price. And, you know, bring attention to those guitars. And they'll sell because people like cheap, affordable guitars. You know? So keep that in mind. D-Max says Andertons is involved with other guitars, and I believe that low-price pedal brand that they show on their shootouts. Not 100%, though, but I think they have to add disclaimers. So are you talking about the Tone City pedals? Something like that. I know they were promoting Tone City pedals for a while. Yeah, it could be. Anyways, I just wanted to let you know, you guys, just in case. Yeah, the JTH, Alex, that what you're looking at? Yeah, I gotta say it definitely caught my attention too. If I didn't already have the other Marshall head behind me over there, I definitely would have considered it. But after listening to some videos recently of that particular amp, I kind of feel like this one sounds better. Again, don't take my word for it because I haven't had an opportunity to try them both in the room, but Studio Vintage sounds extremely good. JTM 20, yeah. JTM 45 is like my favorite Marshall of all time. If I could ever get a JTM 45, An original one would be great, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. Even the reissues are pretty expensive, but they do look really nice. I'm curious. So if you do get one, Alex, let me know how you like it. And I would say try both of the amps side by side before you make a final decision, just to be sure you're making the right one. You know, sometimes they sound great, but you don't realize, you know, how much or how little headroom they have and where the sweet spot is. Quicksilver says, looking back, that shootout with the Telecasters where he picks up the this classic vibe, custom shop, I think it was, or was it the classic vibe? Purple Telecasters, and says it needs to have the edges rolled and maybe some work on the frets. Maybe it backfired a little. Well, what ended up happening was that he picked up his Strat, right? His Telecaster. Yeah, Philip McKnight is involved with Badlands Guitars, but he's come out and said that from the get-go, so he wasn't really hiding it. Anyways, guys, it's all good. One other thing I wanted to talk about that has been in the news lately. We mentioned the passing of Bernie Marsden. Unfortunately, he passed, and he did have... Somebody mentioned last week that he had meningitis, and I thought, that can't be right. He must be mixing it up with Jeff Beck, because Jeff Beck had meningitis. And what are the chances two guys, you know, dying of the same thing, meningitis? Like, that's kind of odd, isn't it? It's a kind of creepy coincidence. I don't know if this is hopefully not a trend or anything. But what I wanted to say is that it looks like the Bernie Marsden auctions, he had a bunch of guitars on the auction block. And I thought it was due to the fact that he was ill and he was trying to liquidate stuff. But after finding out that he died of, you know, suddenly, well, not suddenly, he was sick for a little bit, but he died of meningitis. I don't think he was selling off his stuff due to that. Maybe I'm wrong. But the interesting thing is that the auction is postponed. And they say it's out of respect for Bernie, you know, just to give some time for things to settle. I have a feeling the real reason is that they're going to revise all those prices. I have a feeling that all of those guitars just shot up in value right now because Bernie passed away. What do you guys think? Am I wrong here? It would be very interesting to keep an eye out on the prices for those guitars and see what happens. But I have a feeling they are definitely on their way up. I hope that's not the case, because that would be kind of like pretty bad to do that, but to take advantage of the situation like that. But anyways, I'm not going to buy anything, so it doesn't bother me, but it's just one of those things that I wanted to throw out there and get your thoughts on. Yeah, Beavis says, I remember back in the 90s, a girl who was in my sister's high school senior class died of spinal meningitis. I have a good friend, and his wife also, when she was younger, caught meningitis like that. And it was a scary period, man. She came very close. Thankfully, she pulled through. But, you know, I don't know. How do you get meningitis? It's weird. I figured we would probably have some kind of easy treatment by now. Crazy, eh? Jimmy Buffett just died? Wow. What's going on? Don't people live forever anymore? Don't we have the technology to keep people living? All right, crazy stuff there. I wanted to also share with you the news about Billy Gibbons' beautiful Magnatone amplifiers that are being sold in a limited edition. I don't know, did you guys hear about this? I'm always concerned Not concerned. I'm always interested in learning how Billy gets his tone. And Billy is one of those guys that doesn't really come clean about his tone and changes stuff so often along the way. It's really hard to know how he gets that sound. And of course, there's all the voodoo and trickery that goes into his sound in the studio and whatnot. So it's not an easy thing to understand where he's coming from tonally. But he's been using magnetone amplifiers now for a long time. I think he's endorsed by them, or probably maybe even owns a share of the company. Who knows? But basically, he's been using magnetone amps for a while, and apparently, the Super 59 is one of the models that they came out with in a limited quantity, 6 units only, worldwide. So it's a beautiful amplifier. It's got like a silver crocodile finish on it, and it's a signature model, of course. And of course, they're not giving it away, right? It's priced at about almost 7,000. Is it euros or pounds? I think it's pounds. So it's not a cheap date. If you want to get one, you gotta like spend big bucks for it. But if you're into that Billy Gibbons sound and you want to take advantage of it, limited quantity, I'm pretty sure it'll go up in value, but it's definitely a big chunk of change. And I always thought that this particular amp was based on a JTM 45, but apparently it's not. And I've learned that magnetone was actually around even before Marshall. So I would doubt very much that their amplifier is based on a Marshall. So I don't even know like if it's like a similar to a Marshall circuit or what, but it definitely is doing its own thing. And Billy's been using so many different types of amps over the years. I've seen him use a Fender Deluxe. I've seen him use, I think his JCM 800 at one point. I've seen him use so many different things. Rio Grande amplifiers, if you remember those. They were around for a while. Solid state Marshall valve state racks. He was using that for a while. Even the Crate V50s and the Blue Voodoo amps, if you remember. So his sound and stuff is all over the place. I've seen him use the Mojave Scorpion. And he would use the head and he would put it through an isolated cabinet, and then they would like mic it and it would go into the front of house. So many different things. So it's very hard to nail down his tone. I love his stuff. I love, his tone is mostly in his fingers, but having the right tools helps. Getting an old 59 Les Paul helps. He's been around a long time, man. A very long time. And he's played with, Hendrix and a lot of the early rock stars. So he's getting up there, man. Tonefish says he was famous for fronting Crate amps with Marshall amps hidden. Who knows, man? I think, he's just trying to throw people off his trail. I remember the Blue Voodoo amps. Yeah, the Eliminator sound was interesting. Eddie, it's true. There was a point where it became a little bit overly saturated, which wasn't, to me, his best tone. I don't think he's going to shave off that beard, Alex. I believe he got offered, or the band or something got offered $1 million to shave off their beards. I don't know if it was Remington or Gillette, some company back in the day when $1 million was a lot of money, offered them $1 million and they refused. So I don't think that's going to happen. Plus, I don't think he needs the money. He probably has an aircraft carrier hangar full of guitars anyway, so his nest egg is, pretty much established. I think he's got quite a bit of gear and money saved up. So he's not hurting. That's for sure. Yeah, I agree. Tres Hombres, definitely great ZZ Top album. What's very interesting to me, anyways, is that there's a big announcement. Well, Bill Finnegan, who is the creator of the Klon Centaur, the famous Klon pedals that everybody is paying top dollar for these days, says that there's a lot of clones that are very well made, and they're entering the market, and you got to be careful that you're not going to be buying or spending $5,000 or more for one of these pedals and end up buying a clone or a fake. So he made an announcement, and he was basically warning people to be careful, and also warning people about what to look out for, how you can spot a fake and whatnot. And it's interesting because they put on their social media channel a photograph of a recently sold fake Centaur. And they say, this photo of a recently sold fake Centaur unit, which the buyer contacted me about, having afterward developed suspicions, a dead giveaway that is a fake unit is in the, a dead giveaway that this is a fake unit is in the die-cast enclosure. Note the 3 circular flash impressions in the casting, 2 of which are on either side of the foot switch. Note also the raised portion of the fin that creates the battery compartment. That raised portion does not exist in any of the sand cast enclosure used in genuine Centaur units. Also note with this fake Centaur that the fraudsters have corrected an obvious problem with their previous efforts and are now using potentiometers that closely resemble the original CTS pots that I've used in every genuine Centaur. The takeaway here is genuine Centaur units are now worth quite a lot of money. There is a very considerable incentive for unscrupulous people to try to create and sell fraudulent units. So buyer beware. So if you guys didn't see that and you're considering getting one, take note. Be careful, because if you're buying a clone and you're not paying it $5,000 or more, that's a whole other thing. But if you're buying a unit thinking you're getting an original and you just got duped $5,000 or $6,000, I don't understand how anybody would pay that kind of money for a pedal to begin with. But if you got that kind of scratch and you're considering it, be careful. I don't know, does anybody here own an original Klon Centaur? Please raise your hand. I don't think, I've never owned one. I don't think I'm gonna own one. And yeah, I think D-Mac is right. I'd rather go the Wampler route and get something that sounds pretty close to it for less than $100 or $150 as opposed to $6,000. It's crazy. Shane, I agree. My psychological limit for a pedal is about, nowadays, is, if you're going to buy something brand new, it's going to have to be closer to $200. It used to be $150, maybe $150 for a used unit, but if you're going to buy something new these days, it's more likely going to cost you around $200. So unfortunately, I got to up the price on that a little bit. Anyway. I have a patch that I'm playing through, which is sort of a Van Halen patch. It's really interesting. What I'm going through the FM9 here, guys, and what I was trying to get done is figure out a way where I can drop the pitch to an E flat without having to retune all the time. So, if you're playing something like this, it doesn't sound bad till you start playing it. If I put it down to E flat, So it goes from this, so to this. It definitely sounds better in E flat. As opposed to this, right? So I'm just happy that I figured out a way to do it with my FM9 so I wouldn't necessarily have to retune all the way. And, so I'm going to put it in E flat. I like that. Hey, by the way, have you guys, any of you guys practice that? Kind of sounds cool once you put it through the EVH effects and all that kind of stuff. Maybe Jimmy Page should change his sound. But I really like that riff. I showed you that last week, and I thought it was pretty cool. I also really dig that opening riff that you hear on Monkey Man from the Stones. I was playing around with that this week. And of course, this is not the right sound, but when he plays with a... It's really hard to get that sound with all the flange and everything. It's really overkill. But it's a really cool... you know, I can't really play this early in the morning. But Keith did some amazing work on that album. And that particular riff is really cool. It's a groovy riff. I really like it. Dan wants to know, does the FM9 have an octave pedal setting built in? It does have the ability to use octave effects, yes. And that's how I can get it to go down to an E flat like that. Ben wants to know, can you honestly hear a noticeable tone difference when playing different guitars through the fractal, or is it hard to tell them apart? Honestly, Ben, most multi-effects units, in my opinion, are harder to tell apart than going through an amplifier. I find that when you go through a guitar and an amplifier setup, the guitar has much more influence on the sound. When you're going through something like an FM9, not just the FM9, but any multi-effects unit, it's a little bit less of a factor, especially if you're playing some heavily edited sound like this. I mean, the Eddie Van Halen sound, this has got like a flange and EQ and reverb and you know, a variac simulation and I don't know what else is in there, but it's definitely all dressed in terms of a sound. So the more effects and stuff that you use, the less natural sound is going to be coming out of there from your guitar. If you play a cleaner sound, you can definitely hear the guitar come through more, for sure. Yeah, Dancing with Mr. D. That's an old one. Very cool. Yeah, Page and Richards are masters of the riff, but I find that Keith was a master of like not working too hard, you know, getting a good riff, a cool riff without necessarily going too crazy, right? Jimmy Page, you have to have a big breakfast before you tackle one of Jimmy Page's solos or stuff like that, where, you know, Richards is mostly all, you know, open G stuff. Very similar chords, but still, when a song is right, a song is right. D-Mac, my man, you're going to see Rival Sons tonight. I'm jealous, dude. They came to Montreal and I didn't have an opportunity to go. So that's going to be a really cool show. Let me know, man. Let me know how you like it. And are you a fan of Rival Sons, or is this going to be the first time you actually hear them? 'Cause I'm a big fan. DMAX says, question, do you recommend EQ pedal before the amp or in the effects loop? I usually use mine before the amp. That's how I like to use mine. Yeah, I think the EMGs, it's true. So Music and Gear says it's like the EMGs, whether you get steak or cardboard, it all tastes the same. Yeah, it kind of like sucks the, I'm not going to say tone, but the dynamics a little bit, right? Shane says, Tony, did you see Dan's question? Yeah, I did. I answered. Did I see Dan's question? Hold on. Yeah, I did. There, I answered the question, right? All right. Sorry, I'm just scrolling here. Tonefish says the FM9 sounds fantastic, but for the bedroom rock star, I think the Helix is just easier and way above adequate. The Helix is a great unit too. I actually rented the Helix before I bought the FM9, and I just liked the sounds in the FM9 better. So I ended up getting the FM9. I was on a waiting list for such a long time. It would have been way easier for me just to grab the Helix. But overall, I just like the FM9 to me, you can there's like 10 different ways to do the same thing, right? So the flexibility in this thing is crazy. Even maybe too much, you know. But it basically allows you to do a lot of stuff. I haven't even scratched the surface yet. Shane says the next Led Zeppelin solo I want to learn is 10 Years Gone. Yeah, man. Listen to the version that they did with the Black Crowes. Beautiful. Paul says solid body guitars could tank in value in 10 or 20 years. Jazz players thought jazz would never end, but it was all but extinct as the people's music after 50 years. Rock is already 70. I hope you're wrong, Paul, because if you're right, I'm gonna have to get a new channel going. I don't know what to do. What am I gonna review? I'm gonna have to review something. D-Max says, hey Tony, I'm a fan of Rival Sons. Just wish they'd have a longer set. They're the first band on and playing 40-45 minutes, I think. Well, 45 minutes is pretty good, man. They do a lot of heavy lifting. And the singer's amazing. So if you're a fan, you know what I'm talking about. It's going to be great. Like I said, I'm jealous, man. But enjoy it, dude. Eddie wants to know if I can run my Tonex into my powered FR. Yeah, I can. Sure. Yeah. I've done it. You just have to use, the outputs in the back here. You have the left and rights. And they don't have balanced outputs here. It's just left and rights. But you can definitely go into a regular FR speaker. That's how I prefer to do it. Shane says, my cult cover band will have a live the weekend after next. Shane, dude, you gotta record. You gotta get somebody to videotape that. I gotta see that, man. I don't want to miss it. Put it on your channel, dude. We get to see Shane in action. And I love the cult, by the way. So what songs are you going to be playing? Do you have a set list already? Do you know what you're going to be playing? Is it going to be a couple of songs, one or two, more than that? I can grow ferns. Yeah, I can do that. Take it easy, Music and Gear. Thank you for dropping in. Yeah, enjoyed Labor Day for sure. Um, Surferby says, I learned the solo of 10 Years Gone. It's beautiful, and do watch him play it with the Black Crowes. For me, that was like a super, super concert. I love the Black Crowes, seeing Jimmy Page playing with the Black Crowes and playing all of the classic ones, all the classic songs that Robert Plant Can't Swing. They did an amazing job. I wish they would come out with that on DVD or something. They never did. I'd buy it in an instant. They came out with the recording, but they never came out with the video. But the video is out on YouTube. Yeah, Dan. Telecaster Orgy. I was doing the round robin yesterday, and that's the reason why they're out like that. I was just trying to decide what to do with the next Telecaster build. There will be another Telecaster that will be joining the family soon. I'm building another one. So that's why I'm just trying to figure out, like, okay, I'm scratching my head, which pickups am I going to go with on the new one? What kind of neck do I want to put on it? What kind of pick guard, what color pick guard, all this kind of stuff. But it's going to be the candy apple red one that I'm going to be working on. So that's going to be cool. Finally get a chance to build one of those. Yeah, all the good rock bands have issues, don't they, Surferby? Seems like that's the common denominator with all these crazy rock bands. They all eventually implode. So everybody wants to see Shane. So Shane, everybody wants to see you, man. So we gotta see that that cult concert of yours. I'm itching to see that. All right, do us all a favor, dude. It's gonna be fun. I'm just going to jump on to another topic here, because I was talking about the fake clones. It's interesting because, a fake clone, people are being warned about the fakes. But at the same time, the interesting thing is that you get like people selling their fake gear and selling it for a shitload of money. Excuse the... Can I say the nasty SHIT word here? What I'm talking about here is that Slash's fake Gibson Les Paul, the Hunter Burst, that is, it's known as the Hunter Burst, is going to be heading for the auction block. And it's a fake Gibson. You guys probably have already heard about this. And this is the guitar that Slash was using back in the 80s when they were writing Appetite for Destruction, and became quite famous, even though it was a fake. So it's interesting that, well, a couple of things are interesting. Interesting that it's a fake guitar, and it's probably going to sell for like $1 million or something. Maybe not $1 million, but it's listed at between $1 million and $2 million. So would you buy a fake? Everybody's knocking people that have these Gibson guitars, saying, it's a fake guitar, buy authentic and all this kind of stuff. And it's interesting to see that here we have Slash's guitar, which was essentially a fake Gibson that he used for many, many years. It became famous and now is going to be selling for over $1 million or $2 million. And the fact that Slash was using this fake Gibson led to a lot of real Gibsons being sold, because people didn't realize that Slash's guitar was fake, and they're buying a real Gibson, hoping to get the same sound as Slash was getting. And the even more interesting aspect of all of this is that Gibson ended up giving Slash a deal, right, and an endorsement, and basically brought him in as an endorsee. So Gibson didn't care. They just wanted to ride the gravy train, so to speak, and generate sales based on the fact that people believed or didn't know that the Slash's original guitar was not even a real guitar, a real Gibson. So what does that say about all of this, guys? It's all smoke and mirrors, man. Well, yeah, I agree with you, Presley. It probably was a great guitar, but it said Gibson on the headstock, and it wasn't a Gibson. So to me, that's fake, right? I'm not saying it was garbage. It was built by somebody who knew what he was doing, hopefully, but it still was a fake Gibson. It didn't say Slash on the headstock or something else, right? So that's the way I look at it. Anyway, but it's just interesting. What pickups do you think? Are you thinking about the Telecaster? Brian Porter makes some great pickups. Yeah, he does. I've had Porter pickups reviewed on my channel before. I've even done an interview with Brian. Peg City also does really cool stuff. There's so many great pickups out there. I haven't decided what I'm going to put in there yet. I know I have a bunch of parts in a box somewhere. I got to go through all that stuff. I'm sure I have stuff already. I probably won't need to buy new. I probably have enough odds and ends to make a few guitars. So we'll see. And I'll try out a few different things and we'll see what we end up with. The good news is that, you can always try different pickups and swap them. Yeah, I guess it wasn't made in a Chinese slave shop. I hope not, anyways. Shane, good question. I think anybody can eventually call yourself a master luthier. I mean, I don't think they have like official tests, to qualify you as a master. You know what I mean? I think it comes down to how many years of experience you have, but who's going to check? I'm not sure. I could be wrong. Maybe there is some kind of rating system for luthiers. I'm not sure. Alex says, I've played a few Gibsons that are as good, if not better than Gibsons. Yeah, they're by the same token, Alex, there's still a lot of duds out there. So yes, you can get some really good ones, and you can get some garbage ones as well. Unfortunately, both ends of the spectrum are floating out there, so you never know what you're gonna get. But I always say I'm very hesitant to buy any kind of Gibson or anything like that if I haven't already played it and held it in my hands before I actually make that decision. I wouldn't buy sight unseen because you don't know what you're gonna get. Jean-Pierre has a question. Hey, Jean-Pierre, hope you're doing okay, buddy. Which guitar company is the most professional? Good question. Professional. I don't know what you mean by professional. I don't know what you mean by professional. I mean, do you mean like what's the word I'm looking for? Not loyal, but honest? Is that what you mean? Which guitar company maybe is the most honest? Look, at the end of the day, I think everybody's out to make some money. And whenever a business is out to make money, I think the honesty aspect kind of flies out the window. They're going to, go after whatever avenue is the easiest to generate money. And, Gibson has done some questionable things over the years. Fender pricing has gone through the roof, and their marketing people have always found creative ways to respin the same stuff and make it sound like it's worth $1,000 more, when in many cases it's probably not. It's a business, man. So I don't know. And Tonefish has a good point. He says PRS still owned by one man. Sir Guitars still owned by one man. Friedman Amplifiers, I know they also make guitars now. I don't think Friedman actually makes the guitars, but he's working in association with somebody. But as far as the amps go, still owned by one man. And I think Tonefish is right. I think the companies that are owned and run by one person are probably going to give you way more love and attention than big corporations can. It's just the nature of the beast. So I think PRS definitely, Music Man too, I believe. Still owned by the family, right? If I'm not mistaken. So you have a better opportunity to get something, where they are putting art before the money. Like Jean-Pierre says. Good point. Alex2112 says, Tony, you should build and sell your own guitars with your own brand. I would buy one. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. I would love to do something like that, but I know how difficult it is to actually make a living doing that. It's not easy. And, case in point, I was reading that recently Fender mentioned that they had like major problems where they were, what did they do? They had to take back or cancel like 200,000 orders or something like that. I don't know if I got the story straight. Oh, there's so much stuff happening. I think the story was, if I'm understanding this correctly, was that Fender had mentioned that guitars were no longer a priority for them and had $100 million worth of retail sales canceled in 2020. So that's a lot of money, right? $100 million worth of retail sales equals to about 600,000 guitars and maybe 200,000 amps. And I think the cancellations were due to everything that was happening with COVID at the time or something like that. But at the same time, there was an upswing during COVID where people started playing guitars a lot. So that kind of, I think, saved them. Because I believe, according to their statistics, Fender mentions that during COVID, about 16 million people picked up the guitar during the pandemic, right? And 30 million people worldwide. And of course, Fender and the rest of the industry benefited from that. So thank God for that, because I think if it wasn't for that, a lot of these companies and a lot of these organizations would have probably gone belly up. So, when you're dealing with canceled orders to the magnitude of $100 million, that's not chump change. That's like, that can make or break a company, depending on the size of the companies. So it's interesting that that happened, and thankfully a lot of companies survived. I don't know if you guys realize that, but that's what they were living. Eddie mentions Tom Anderson. Yeah, another great guitar builder. Parker went belly up. That's true, Shane. Nags, yeah. And Shane mentions that Kiesel's actually a split company between two brothers. Godin, I think, is still owned by the Godin family. And it is owned by one man. So I would say like Godin is like the Canadian or Quebec equivalent of Fender at this point. Presley says, Chipsons are like a box of chocolates. You're right. You're right, Presley. Absolutely right. You never know what you're going to get. Eddie says, are the Tokais made in Japan LPs considered Gibbons? I think they're considered Gibbons, yes. They went very far in analyzing the original vintage Gibson guitars when they created the Tokai brand. And it's interesting reading if you actually look it up and see how far they actually went, even like to the point of analyzing the cases and what kind of locks were on the cases of the guitars and whatnot. So they really were very analytical about it. And at the end of the day, I think that's why they're still around and still sought after. And I think great guitars, by the way. So I think, yeah, you can call them Gibbons. I think it's the first time I heard somebody use that term, Gibson. But I like it. It has a nice ring to it. The AIO brand could be owned by one guy, but I think he's getting the guitars made overseas. So I don't know who's making the guitars. Probably one guy selling the guitars, but I don't think they're actually making them. Shane, if there's a lot of Tokai Strats in Japan, you should definitely try and see if you can get a lefty. Those are also known to be very well made. So yeah, if I was in Japan like you, Shane, I'd be sourcing those Tokais all day long, as much as I can. I wanted to also mention something really funny. I was actually taking a listen to a lot of different things this week, and I realized that one of the cool things about older songs and the way they were recorded is that they have a lot of unusual things happening in the song sometimes. They're not as slick and overproduced and like, you know, immaculate as they are today. And that's the beauty of these old recordings. You can actually hear these like mess ups in the recordings. And one of the ones that I didn't realize, but I was talking to Jean-Pierre about this. If you listen to a song like Roxanne, for example, from The Police, at the very beginning of the song, I think it's about 8 seconds in the song, you hear the song start, and then you hear this funny chord. It just goes, dun, you know, and then you hear Sting laughing. And I never realized this, but what was happening there is that during the recording of the song, Sting, I guess, had his back to a piano. And I think he thought that the keys were covered. And he went to sit down or to lean against the piano. And his butt basically played a chord. And he realized that he did that and it was caught on tape and he started to laugh. And they just kept it in. And I think that's great. Like stuff like that is just like classic moments that are just immortalized in time, right? And a lot of you might not know this, but there's a lot of that stuff in the old music. And another thing that I knew, I also learned was that if you listen to the Aerosmith song, he's basically, the song is Sweet Emotion. And if at the beginning of Sweet Emotion, there's a noise, there's a sound, and it's called a vibro slap. And it's kind of like, I don't know what it is exactly, but it's like a little metallic little instrument where you hit it and it makes like this vibration sound, like a bow. And if you listen to the beginning of the song, Steven Tyler's doing this, right? He's hitting it, I think 3 or 4 times. And on maybe the 3rd time or the 4th time, I'm not really sure, it breaks. And it basically produces this rattling vibration sound. So he smacks it. And I think on the 3rd hit, it breaks and you hear the thing like basically fall apart click, 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 with all the reverb and everything. Sounds interesting because it's a weird sound, right? But they kept it in and it's still in the recording today. So if you listen to it, you'll hear it there. And apparently at one point, even during, I guess, the live recording of that song, Steven Tyler, somebody forgot the maracas and there's that sound, and they were saying, well, how are we going to reproduce this now? We don't have the maracas. So somebody dug into a box and they found one of those silica packages, you know, those little rubber packages those little paper packages, the little pouches that they put in with products to absorb humidity. And they just cranked up the volume or the gain on the mic, and he was just playing the little package to simulate a maraca, you know, and that's what he was using. And you know, Steven has told this story himself, so I know it's true. And it's really crazy. I love this stuff. I can't get enough of this stuff. And it's really, same thing for Led Zeppelin. If you listen to Led Zeppelin, there's the notorious, John Bonham's notorious Speed King bass pedal. Speed King was Ludwig's bass pedal, and they were notorious for being squeaky. And you can hear the squeaky bass drum pedal in so many Led Zeppelin songs. Since I've Been Loving You, you can hear it there. The Ocean, you can hear it there. The Rain Song, Houses of the Holy, 10 Years Gone, almost all of them. I Can't Quit You Baby, Coda, All of My Love, In Through the Outdoor. There's so many different songs that you hear this. If you crank it, you pay attention, you hear all these little things. And that's what makes music so great. Now we lost all this stuff because everybody wants to make their recordings like immaculate, using sequencing and making their, everything has to be perfect. All the drums have to be perfect and all that kind of stuff. And we lost the natural beauty of making art, making music, unfortunately. I agree with Alex. Mixing the mistakes are sometimes the best part of the songs. The things that make the song memorable. Eddie had a question. Tony, I'm considering a PRS Mira SE to scratch the Gibson Junior itch. Any thoughts? Yeah, I think those are great guitars, man. I was considering one myself before I got a couple of guitars with P90s in them. And I think you're not going to go wrong. All the PRS stuff is good. You're not going to get a bad PRS. I mean, it's very difficult. You're going to be very unlucky. So I think if you like the styling of the Mira, I think you're going to love it, man. Go for it, I say. You have my blessing. Shane said, I just realized I no longer own an electric guitar under $1,000. Yeah, times are changing, aren't they, Shane? Used to be you'd be able to buy a used guitar for $500. Then that jumped to like $800. Now it's like $1,000. So it's going to be $1,500. Yeah, Jean-Pierre brings up a good point. The echo of Plant's voice. Yeah, at the beginning of the recording, is it Black Dog? I think it's Black Dog. So that what ended up happening is that they used to record on master tapes. It wasn't digital back then. So what they would do is they would record a track and then eventually reuse the tapes because it's expensive, right? And after you do that a couple of times, sometimes you can still hear if the gain is really high up on the recording, you're going to hear it come through. It bleeds through. So if you're recording a new track, you kind of still hear what was beyond that track. And that's where you hear the beginning of the song, where you hear the echo of Plant's voice on Black Dog. And they couldn't get rid of it. So what they ended up doing, the engineer said, you know what, we can't get rid of it. Let's use it. So they put a bunch of reverb on it and give it like a little effect. So it seems like it was done on purpose. And, that's the haunting thing that you hear and remember on that song, at the very beginning. So stuff like that is priceless, man. Tape bleed, yeah. Love that stuff. It's amazing. So guys, okay, let's do the today's poll. Let's see what the verdict is on the poll before we go any further here. So if you guys didn't already do it right now. I'm gonna jump on into the poll here and see where we're at. And thank you for answering the poll question, by the way, guys. I do appreciate you guys doing that. All right, so just to recap, so we all remember what the poll questions were for today. Which guitar playing technique do you find the most intriguing? And the choices were finger tapping, sweep picking, slide guitar, fingerstyle, and hybrid picking. Those were the 5 choices. So let's give you the results in order of most popular. All right. So very interesting results, and I always find these results intriguing. So we have a tie today, so that's pretty cool. And actually, the results are all pretty close. So sweep picking is number 1 at 24%. I'm not actually surprised because I think a lot of people would like to be able to sweep pick. It's a cool thing to know how to do. I can't sweep pick for beans, but I would like to learn how to do that. the thing with sweep picking is it's great the first 3 times, and then after it gets old really fast. So you would have to use it very sparingly and then mix it with something else. But I'm not surprised. Sweep picking, number 1. Very cool. Actually, tied, because sweep picking and fingerstyle are the 2 number 1 answers. So fingerstyle, obviously, that's a really cool thing to know how to play. I think fingerstyle playing is a lot easier and comes a lot more naturally to me than sweep picking. I would have to work quite a bit harder at sweep picking. But very cool that those are tied, neck and neck, 24. Next is slide guitar, which I thought would be maybe down a little bit lower, because today, you know, I love slide guitar. That's probably the thing I would love to learn. Again, my slide guitar playing sucks. Unfortunately, I don't have the touch for slide guitar. But when I listen to stuff from ZZ Top and from, you know, the Black Crowes and Allman Brothers and all these great players that can really put so much emotion in playing slide guitar, I'd love to be able to do that. So that's what I would vote for, slide guitar. And by the way, I didn't vote, so my vote's not in there. And this is based on 209 votes, by the way. All right, so slide guitar comes in at 23%. Then 22 is hybrid picking. So I thought hybrid picking would be higher up there, because a lot of people are doing that. You see that quite often today. So hybrid picking, 22, and finger tapping, 6%. So I understand why finger tapping would be so low, because automatically you're thinking Eddie Van Halen nowadays, right? But if you do it too much, yeah, people are thinking Eddie Van Halen. If you throw it in there very sparingly, just here and there a little bit, it's cool, you know? But I understand why people are not necessarily into the finger tapping anymore. But did we have some comments? We did have some comments, so I'm going to just quickly read some of the comments. So one of the comments says, I've watched guys like Jerry Reed and players he shared a stage with that could finger pick everything. I'm in awe of how easy they make it look, and we're doing it well past their prime. Yeah, there are masters at this stuff. Jerry Reed, of course, yeah. Goes without saying. Another comment says, I'm working on pinched harmonics tuned in drop C sharp or A standard. Very cool. Pinch harmonics, yeah, that's another one. That's another good technique. Again, Billy Gibbons is a master at doing that. You know, you have to have enough gain on tap to be able to get those squeals out there. And yeah, Billy Gibbons comes to mind. But of course, you know, there's a lot of other guitarists that have been doing those pinch squeals back in the 80s all day long. So, but it's a good tool to have in your arsenal. And let's see here. Paul Gilbert makes sweep picking look so easy. Must be those 8 fingers he has. Yeah, some guys are naturals. And no option for general guitar playing. Every time I pick up a guitar, my brain says, what is this thing? LOL. I do that after a while too, so I could relate. And then we have another comment that says, I would really like to be able to play slide guitar to a reasonable standard. I have Bonnie Raitt's custom shop Strat, but not her ability to play slide. Just what is the secret of playing slide guitar? I wish I knew, honestly. There's a lot of things when it comes to playing slide guitar properly, namely the touch, the action on the guitar, height of the strings, location of the slide to keep things, the tuning correct. There's so many different things. You can't be overly aggressive with slide guitar. You can still get an aggressive sound, but you got to be delicate when you're playing it. So I think that's why it's so difficult. So very cool, guys. Thank you for taking the poll. I appreciate that. It always gives me insight as to where you guys are at and what you guys are interested in. Eddie says, I'm obsessed with working on alternate picking, especially now with the pick slanting stuff. And Surfer By says, I'm surprised fingerstyle comes easy to me. Slide is so hard. I figured that would be number one. Yeah, me too, man. Shane says there's great sweep picking in metal music. Yeah, and it's been like that forever, right? Cushman says, my brother plays a mean slide guitar, not me. Ask him to show you how it's done, man. I've watched countless videos on people explaining how to do the slide thing, but I think it boils down to just putting in the hours. It's not going to come quickly. You know, slide guitar and sweep picking are probably the techniques that are going to require the most time, I think. Alex says the secret is string action in playing up off the fret. Yeah. There's so many little things. It's the little things, you know. But after a while, you look at it and you try, and all of a sudden it becomes clear, and you're like, oh yeah, that's what it is. Mick Taylor had great technique when it came to playing slide guitar on those early Stones records, man. Really great stuff. And the little feet, you're right. Little feet, slide guitar, even the faces. I think the faces back in the day were using slide guitar quite a bit, the slide technique quite a bit. So that's really cool, man. So I'm surprised a lot of people would be interested in playing slide. I thought it was like a dying thing where it basically fell out of flavor. Danny Grattan played mean slide and everything else. I don't know if does Joe Bonamassa play a pretty good slide? I think it's possible, right? I think he plays pretty good. He may have gotten tutored by Danny back in the day, but I don't know if he does it all that much. You got to put in the hours. That's what it boils down to, man. If you don't put in the hours, you're not going to get the results. The proof is in the pudding. Steve says Justin Johnson has Slide Guitar Foundation's guitar lesson video course on his website. I got to check that out. I got to check it out. It's also, and the other secret with slide guitar is the tuning. You know, most of these guys are not playing standard tuning. And that's what makes it extremely difficult. You got to play the right tuning. So it comes down to tuning, touch, the vibrato, getting the notes to ring out cleanly and not get the overtones. You know, you got to muffle the sound with the other fingers. So depending on which finger you're putting the slide on, type of slide, obviously the pressure. You have to have a guitar that has higher action to keep things clean. So if you're playing a guitar with super low action, it's going to be a challenge, man. Joe's here. Hey, Joe. Hey, Joe. How many times do people do that to you? Hi, everybody. Got a Headrush Prime. Gigged it last night. Very usable patches out of the box. I had a good time. Very cool, man. Is it the first time, Joe? Is it your first time playing through the Headrush, or do you normally play through a multi-effects unit, or do you usually use amps? Eddie says, I worked on Slide because of Jimmy Page's Traveling Riverside Blues. That's a great song, man. One of my favorites. I love that song. Yeah, Jimmy Page again, In My Time of Dying. Beautiful. So many great songs. Shane says slide seems like too much trouble for me. And there's no slide guitar in cult songs, so don't worry about it, Shane. It's all good, man. It's all good, man. All right, let's have a little bit of fun. We're going to do a little bit of misheard lyrics. I want to share these funny things with you guys. Oftentimes, you know, you're listening to a song and the lyrics are misheard. You're singing the song wrong, or you've been singing the song wrong for years. You never realized it. There's a couple of funny ones. You guys probably have already heard these, but things like, for example, Tiny Dancer by Elton John, where he sings the line, "Hold me closer, tiny dancer." A lot of people hear, hold me closer, Tony Danza. If you guys remember the old Taxi episodes, Tony Danza. I thought that was funny. And of course, if you listen to the Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams Are Made of These, a lot of people are hearing Sweet Dreams Are Made of Cheese. Some of these are priceless. I know you guys probably heard some of these already, but they still make me chuckle. Credence, Bad Moon Rising. There's a bad moon on the rise is the actual lyrics, and you hear there's a bathroom on the right. That one's the best. Oh man. And of course the Blinded by the Light, the famous line, wrapped up like a douche. The actual what is it, wrapped up like a deuce. So yeah. Anyways, I think I'll leave it at that. So I think, guys, I've been talking almost 2 hours today. I think we did more than enough chatting today. I'll answer a few last questions and then we'll wrap it up. If you guys haven't hit the haven't smashed the like button, please do that. I would appreciate it. And I'm going to answer a few more questions before we hit the road. Gene says, Tony, have you ever played cigar box guitar? It's awesome for slide and power chords. I have not. No. Where do you get a cigar box guitar anyway? Is that something you got to make yourself? No, I haven't tried that, man. But that's pretty cool. I never say never. I might do that. You never know. Yeah, Eddie. Beast of Burden. I've never seen a pizza burning. Or don't want to eat a pizza burning. Ken, yeah. Bingo Jed had a light on. Bingo Jed had a light on. Don't carry me too far away. Yeah, and Jean-Pierre says the first words of Wild Horses, you can hear them in French, where he says, oh, le blé d'Inde. Blé d'Inde is corn. Ah, blé d'Inde. Something like that. Dirty Needs, Dundern Chief. Yeah, Dirty Knees. We can go on all day with this stuff. Rico says, my girlfriend back in the 80s thought Bon Jovi's Bad Medicine was Your Love is Like Sam Kinison. I never heard of that one. That's cool. Your love is like Sam Kinison. Sam Kinison is all I need. Whoa. Wrapped up like a douche. Excuse me while I kiss this guy. That's the Jimi Hendrix. Yeah, man. D-Mac says, speaking of cult, I've always heard She Sells as the Texas sun makes my back burn. Not, oh, the heads that turn make my back burn. Yeah, it's true. If I think about it, kind of does sound like that, doesn't it? Some girls are made of sleaze. Oh, man. Steve, what's going on? Yeah, there's so many. What is it? Hit me with your best shot is hit me with your pet shark. Something like that. And also, what was it? The Paradise City, take me down to Paradise City where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Some people here, take me down to the very last city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. So it's not the very last city, it's Paradise City. Yeah, there's so many of this. I think at one point I had a calendar, one of those rip-out calendars that had like every day was a different misheard lyric, which I thought was pretty cool. I think they still sell those. If you end up finding one, grab it. It's entertaining. EF says, what do you think What do you do with the extra guitar strap length on leather straps? I use the first hole to get the guitar closer to my body, but it leaves the end dangling in the way of the upper fret access. Okay, well, first of all, I try and keep the dangling side on the back of the guitar, not in the front, if I can. If worse comes to worse, I'll get a shorter strap or cut the strap. But I usually, what I like to do, actually, let me show you. If I can show you 2 seconds. 1 sec. If I have one here, let me just see if I can grab it. Here we are. So obviously, if you are dealing with straps that are too long, then you might want to consider a different type of strap, right? So I usually get these. They're adjustable. But if you're already down here, this is the length that you're going to be using with. You can actually put them up further up here. What you can do is you can wrap them. So as they go around the, I don't know if it's this type of guitar strap, but if it is, you can take these and wrap them back, right? You can take it and put it through another one of these little slots like this, just to show you. Right? So you can do it like this and put it through. So you don't have much of the strap left over. If you do it this way, it kind of stays out of the way. See? Like that. Right? See, now it's not hanging low anymore. It's all wrapped behind here. It's not the most comfortable way of doing it. Like, I don't recommend doing that. If you need things out of your way, you might be better off getting a strap like this that has a little adjustable buckle. So you can just, shorten it and it's going to be good to go. That's the disadvantage with these guys. But that's what you can do. That's what I do. All right. Yeah, Gene, thank you. Hit the like button. I appreciate that, guys. I'm going to leave you with this thought before we go. And we'll be back again next Sunday. So, of course, tune in for that. And don't forget to watch my video this week. I'll be putting that out probably tomorrow. And the last little inspirational thought I'm going to share with you guys, in the words of Frank Zappa. Information is not knowledge. Knowledge is not wisdom. Wisdom is not truth. Truth is not beauty. Beauty is not love. And love is not music. Music is the best. So remember that, guys. There's a lot of wisdom in those words. And Uncle Frank knew what he was talking about. So just remember that, all right? I'm going to leave you guys now. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Go play your guitars. Get that tone that makes you smile. And enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully you enjoy your gear and guitars as much as I do. And we'll be back next week again with all of you guys, hopefully, and a few more to talk about all the great stuff that's been happening during the week. All right, guys. Peace, love. Go practice your guitar, and we'll be back with way more. Take it easy, guys.